obviously you and Tim have a lot of history together. In terms of Tim, what was he like to manage? What was he like to be around?
No, I think he was part of a very special group of people at Blackburn. I think they were good on the pitch, but they were even better off the pitch. The camaraderie, the friendship, the team ethic and the spirit was fantastic, and that went a long way to getting the success that they got. So no, it was brilliant there. He came from Norwich eventually, and then we were a wee bit naive at Blackburn. The boys were good as gold, but Jack Walker had just come in and was putting the money in, and we were having to move forward quickly. And to move forward, you need to get people that are comfortable in that area and people who are a wee bit sharp upstairs. And obviously, being a Cockney, we thought he'd be a wee bit sharp. We were disappointed when he came. But no, so it was just an integral part and a really important part of the boys at Blackburn was how good they were with each other and how good the dressing room was.
But that don't happen. That's not because of the signing. That's because of the atmosphere. What Kenny and Ray Hartford, Tony Parks, Asa Hartford. So many great guys there. And they built that. It doesn't just happen by signing players. You need to sign the right characters. But in the end, because the hierarchy is like that, even the owners and the secretary and the chief exec, just top drawer, straight guys. And you realise that. And if anyone come with attitude, we knocked it out of them quickly as possible. And it was no them and us. We were all in it together. I'd never ever been to a club, and I was early stage of my career, where the players and the management and the owners and the directors sat on the same table for dinner. But we did that there. It was about everyone. It wasn't them and us. It was nothing like that. It was just all togetherness, and we're all going in the same direction, and we all wanted one thing. And eventually we got it.
But Ray Hartford was brilliant.
Yeah.
As a coach. Tony Parks picked up the scraps before we went there. He'd been there for a long, long time, Tony. And the manager got the sack. I think they were second bottom in the league. Tony went in as a replacement and took them up to mid-table. And then that's when I came in and with Ray Hartford. And Tony really knew the club back to front. So for us, it was massive and hugely important for us to know what was going on in the club. And although Ray would do most of the coaching, Tony was an integral part of it as well.
Kenny, do you remember the first time Uncle Jack rang you and asked you to take over as manager?
He never rang.
He didn't?
No. It was...
Robert Cole.
I remember seeing the newspaper clippings, and it was saying that they were after us in Sudan and people like that out. And I'm saying to myself, is this a joke? Because Blackburn were, as I said, they were in the second division and they were at the bottom of the second division, get beat early on that season in the League Cup as well at home. But I'm saying to myself, this is somebody having a wind up here. And then when somebody phoned up and said, would you be interested? I'd left Liverpool at the time and checked it out and said, yeah, he's genuine, he's got a few quid.
Yeah.
I said, well, we need to have a conversation first. So we had the conversation, and the most important thing I said to him was, Tony Parks has got to stay. I'm not going to clear the place out. I need somebody in there that knows what it's all about.
Yeah.
And that's where it started from. So it was Mr. Fox that was the old chairman. And unfortunately, I don't think he was there to see it through.
Right. Brilliant times. I mean, incredible. I always remember Kenny saying, we never had a training ground. I've been through all this before on here. We used to train go to the old Ewood Park, and it was not in great condition. And we used to travel to a park like Tony Parks, and the coaches would get up there early and clear the shit off the pitch. It was like a non-league club. But the people in the building who were there were absolutely top drawer. And that is what it means. I always remember Kenny saying, it's not about the facility, it's about the people in it. And that's absolutely right. Now, I've been to some clubs since and it seems to be all about the facility and, less about what's on the pitch. It's all about what happens on the grass. It's great to have the facilities. Of course it is. And everyone wants a new stadium and the fans want to go. But, we talk about Man United now. They're not winning games because they've got a hole in the roof there at Old Trafford. It's because they're not getting it right on the pitch. And they can't use it as an excuse. And we never use it as an excuse. We could have easily have done that, but we never. And we just kept driving in the same direction. And it eventually got us. And I think it was probably the making of us, probably part of that camaraderie that the facilities were just horrendous, weren't they?
I remember the first day we were in for training. Tony Park said, we've got to book a pitch at Pleasington. And I went, yeah, well, on you go. He said, do you want sand or grass? I said, what do you mean sand? And when you went down to the pitch, it must have been just assuming here that somebody'd nicked a car or something and they'd go down and you would go to the pitches and they were all like, it must have been doing the handbrake turn.
Yeah.
You just drive down and there wasn't about the pitches. And you turn up and the pitch is covered in tracks of people who had been out the night before, joyriding. But listen, that's what it was. With 2 or 3 places we could go. We went to school, didn't we?
Yeah.
KGV, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then another place. And Ray used to put me up on the shoulders and I used to have the spanner putting the goals together. When we finished, we had to take them down and we put the goalposts over there, the crossbar over there, and the long grass so nobody could find them and nick them.
Pep and Jurgen don't do that now. No, they got people to do that now.
I'm sure they would.
Listen, we had to stop training when a funeral procession come through. We stopped and all bowed our heads when the funeral procession come through the park. And then when it come back out, if we were still training, which we probably was if his team wasn't winning, then we would stop again. But when I first went there, I remember when I was thinking, because you remember Kenny as a player, I remember him scoring all them goals at Highbury when I used to go and watch Arsenal. I used to think, man, I hate him. He's just so good. And I swear to you, he was, I think you were 39, I think that's right. But it must have been alarming to you that you were still the best player. When you joined in, but
at the beginning there wasn't much opposition, was there?
No, I know, but see, it must be alarming when you take over as a manager of a club and you are the best player.
No, the most important thing was getting a 5-a-side at the end of the game.
Yeah,
then we could get a game.
Did you play in those 5-a-sides?
Could we play?
Yeah.
We could not stop until his team won.
Really?
And if we won, then, you didn't want to upset him too much if you weren't on his team because then you wouldn't play at the weekend. Tony Parks used to ref. He used to be scared. He used to be scared of Kenny. Kenny used to be shouting at him, that's you were cheating, Tony. He said, why would I cheat? It was incredible. I mean, just the atmosphere. I mean, how many tear-ups do you have with players get pulled apart? You see, we trained like it was a Saturday afternoon. That is how we got taught to play. Competitive, need to win. You need to win everything. If it's a race from here today, you need to win. And that was what he instilled into us. And he used to say, you show me a good loser, I'll show you a loser. I've got all these sayings and all come from that man.
But there was a thing when Arsene Wenger went to Arsenal, they were talking about the importance of eating properly and training. And how people, fitness guys, come in. We were Blackburn, and we were doing it. They were doing it before I went there. Mm. They used to share a fitness coach with Sheffield United. So he'd come to us a couple of days and go to Sheffield United a couple of days. And he used to come back and do the lads. They were brilliant. Yeah. And by the way, didn't have to pay them dividends because they were solid. They were bodily, they were solid, the top of the table, whereas before they would be a wee bit loose.
Do you keep an eye on Blackburn now? Do you still watch their games or check the results?
Yeah, check the results, and if they're on the telly, I'll watch the game. Right. But it's no the same place as what it was then. There was that will never happen again. A local man from the area has got enough money to put in to fulfil his dream, but also the dream for the other people for Blackburn, because that's all. He was genuine. He was genuine, wasn't he? He wanted it for the people of Blackburn who'd made his life. and he wanted to give them something back.
You hear about recently about managers, Todd Bowley, going in, and not the Man United guys at the moment, but going into a dressing room. Jack used to be in the dressing room before the game and after the game, but he would say, "How you doing?" and "unlucky" or "well done." That was it. He never had an opinion on the football. He would have one, but he never felt like it was that important. It was up to the manager to give his opinion on the football. He used to come in, and we used to play penny up the wall with him before the game, and Kenny's almost saying, "Look, Jack, out. Now we're going. It's time to go work. We need to." And the boys loved him. They loved him, and it was just him. He built. I think success is built from the top, and players looking at who's in charge. And that man was just. He had one dream, and everyone just wanted, to, of course, for their own benefit, fulfill that dream. But he wanted to do it for him as well, and he put the infrastructure in there for us to be able to achieve it.
What about when we went to Jersey?
Yeah.
To play his team, he had an amateur team in Jersey.
Yeah. We
went over to play them. We drew one each, didn't we?
Yeah. We signed 4 of their players.
So
we was a bit worse for wear.
We went back the next. He took us out for lunch first.
Everything was paid for, wasn't it? Wherever we went in Jersey, we walk into there and they say, "Are you with Jack?" "Oh, no problem, done." Yeah. I bought a car, everything.